Right, it's the 20th of March this morning, and I've got another load of lambs for Ruswarp. They're pretty fit actually. I was surprised by this. There was actually 19 left, but one was a right little runty thing. I don't think he'll ever go, or if he does, it'll be like you'll have to have a summer on him to and go like a big well, a bit like a cooler. I assume it's the weather. It looks like. Well, I don't even know really what's wrong with him. He seems just weak in his back end. He flops down, and you could say it's sort of classic sway back, and that's certainly possible. But he didn't seem like that before. It's more like he's had some sort of issue with his joints. They just generally don't seem to have any strength in his legs and things. When he's with the other lambs having their feed, he tends to get knocked over, and he just lies there while they walk over him. He's not that, he's small, but he's heavier than I expected. I had to pick him up to get him out of the pen so he didn't get trampled, and he must have weighed about 30 kilos. No, he's not exactly fit, but he's not like a skeleton. He walks, generally speaking, he walks about, keeps up with others and gets his feed, so there's no real reason why he should be. It's been rather annoying this month so far. I mean, it actually changed at the end of the last week or two of February. It started to go downhill with bits of rain all the time, and I still haven't got any slurry out, which is quite annoying, because we normally would like to be doing it the first half of March, where it's the 20th already, and I haven't done any yet apart from a bit of spreading off the pad. Oh, what's that bright yellow bird there? Did you see that? No, but it was like, I don't know what that was. I really don't know what it was. And anyway, I tell you what, it was a woodpecker. What's he doing there? He ain't broke down, is he? He was still sat in it on his phone, so I assume he's okay. He's a resourceful chap anyway. It's not like he was in the middle of nowhere and it was snowing. So I might have stopped and asked if he was alright. Properly. But, this pickup, it was in down bottom of the station. What's it called? I can't remember. I can never remember their name because it's 3 letters. Something MTR. That's it, I think. It was in there for its MOT and emissions and all this stuff, which it passed, and I'd asked them to change the battery because this pickup is 9 years old. It was still its original battery, and I was increasingly expecting at some point it'd go back to it, and it just wouldn't go, because even though it's not a new vehicle, it's surprising how computery it is. And I've had 2 or 3 experiences lately with more computery vehicles where they just won't do anything. They don't give you any warning, like not turning over very fast. They just won't go, like almost dead. So it would be advisable to put a new battery on now before that happens. Well, anyway, what the mystery is, they've seemed to have updated the firmware or something. There's various things it does now it didn't do before. When you cycle through the items on the dash, it makes a silly beepy noise. When you first start it up, it says good morning or something stupid. It doesn't actually speak it. It doesn't say good morning. Actually, it says something else. It says welcome and fasten your safety belt. And that wasn't there before. I noticed that straight away. And then when you shut it off, it more or less says goodbye, have a nice day. I can't remember the exact words of it. Inane salutations. And one other thing which I didn't even notice till yesterday is because when the driver's window, you used to just touch the button and it would go right down or right up. It actually says on it auto, so you didn't have to hold it. And they've changed that, so now that's just like all the others, and you have to sort of hold it to where you want it. I mean, it's not really the end of the world or significant at all, but just, oh, why the hell did they do that? So why have they changed that in that firmware, and why did he think he ought to just change this firmware, update it, without telling me? Or say, he ought to have said in advance he would have to do that. And he didn't say afterwards, oh, we've had to do it because, you know, I am sort of assuming that it's because they took the battery off to put the new one on, and at that point, for whatever reason, they had to reflash the firmware, if that's the word. And they had the latest version, which is different. You know, and so I'm not bothered really, and I still get used to it. It was just odd that firstly they had to do it, and secondly they didn't tell me they'd done it, and preferably say in advance they would have to do it. Because the changes are not insignificant, and there'll be a lot more than that as well, but they say that, I always do it now. Can you hear that? When you cycle through the options on the dash, like your trip meters and things, well, I quite like to have the instant fuel gauge, which I'm just trying to zero that, see how it's doing, because I wouldn't be surprised if I changed that and all. Change the fueling for it crossed my mind that the purpose of it was to make it to tinker with the emissions or something, because everything is like flashable. I mean, you can get a plug-in module that gives them about twice as much power, or, you know, well, maybe not twice, but more power, and a different sort of, let's say, more torque at the low end or whatever, which is actually quite an attractive option. You would have to keep switching it back, the original one though, for the emissions test presumably. So you don't mind using a bit more fuel if you're getting more. Well, you know how you use it, which in my case is normally on a trailer. I mean, especially through the winter, it's on a trailer more than it's not. So you kind of particularly benefit from. No, I see something else it's doing as well. Oh no, maybe not. I just thought it was saying on the instant it wasn't going up to 99.9, but it is in fact. It didn't do it straight away. Because I think that's a little bit fanciful. I just re-zeroed it, and we're currently on 70 miles per gallon. That's the actual maximum. It won't go above that. I've seen that before. Now it looks like it'll go down quite soon. Oh, he's got some fertiliser on, presumably. Where are they? There's some bags. Or is it bags? Maybe was putting a bit on some sheep grazing or something. I must admit I'm quite tempted to put some on mine if it wasn't so wet. But still, it's kind of borderline. I could do it. These sheep are quite heavy. Until coming up here. I assume he's got to reverse into one of those houses there. Oh, he's off again now. Where is he? I don't know what he's doing. You'd think they were burning up the top there. The fog is just hanging around the highest points, and it's really dense. But there's none over here. I think, in all honesty, I could assume that, get the opinion that this is a little bit less powerful. Well, you never really know, do you? Because it's just struggling to get away there in third. So you don't mind a little bit less power if your economy overall has improved, for example. It always swings and roundabouts. There's no real free ride, but when you've got a trailer on, the performance is actually more important than the economy, really, because you're not going like hundreds of miles. You're only going 20 miles down to the market and things, and you don't want to be struggling to maintain 50. See that? I'm in fourth there. Obviously it's uphill, but I've only got a few shaping. Well, there's a dozen quite heavy shape. What do they weigh? They're at least 45 kilos the average. So times that by 10 will be 450, and by 12 takes you to over half a ton. It's not a whole lot, but if you imagine how you had yeah, I'd say there's about 600 kg of lambs in there. Like a big bag of fertiliser, which is not insignificant. What else is going on at home? Well, we've still got an issue, which I think I mentioned last time I was doing it. My sheep, they keep having one or two lambs, every 2 or 3 days. There's 1 or 2 new lambs. They're having a little bit of a splurge again lately. Yet there shouldn't be any yet. More than half of them have lambed. So the assumption is increasingly evident, really, that one of the shearlings I bought is supposed to be a female lamb that's been sheared once, so they should have noticed. It's not a she, it's a he. It's probably been castrated with a ring, so there's no obvious ghoulies. So that's just plain carelessness, but admittedly, I suppose you should check them. But who does that? I've never checked at all for she-males before. And you would have thought you'd have noticed him tupping 1 or 2. Especially since it must have gone on for weeks, because he hasn't really been very good at it. They only get an odd 1 or 2 each every 2 or 3 days. And it's become quite an issue that it's so kind of straggly. This just things like getting the rings on them, and that is an issue. Is becoming a problem. My favourite bit of the whole journey, coming over this bridge. Because it's a pretty bridge, isn't it, really? Even, because usually you go over a bridge you hardly know you've done it, but you can see it going over a bridge. When you come back, it works so well with a bit of music as you can see the church tower sort of flashes in little frames between the supports to the bridge. Oh, a bit of a train. Oh, it's a steam train as well. Not a proper train, just an engine.